Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I know I have been absent for quite a while. If you've seen a couple of my little brief videos that were not related to anything that I usually do on my channel, you would know that a lot of shit has gone down recently in my life, and I've been working on that and trying to deal with that, and in doing so I have really needed a break, and B, I just did not have any motivation to do stuff. I did go and see Spider-Man the day it came out, so what's it been, like a week now since I've seen it? And I did my written review, so there are quite a few people who've already seen that, but I hadn't done my video review, but I am doing that now, hence the reason why you've seen the thumbnail and the title, and hence why my lovely Spider-Man cup is here. Yes! Even though it's completely irrelevant to the review, I do tend to, if I have collected a movie cup for the film I am reviewing, I do like to show it off. So, this is what we got for Spider-Man Far From Home. Pretty neat. I thought the cup I got with Thanos on it was badass, but this is kind of cool. We got the title of the film here, Spider-Man there. Yeah, this is kind of crazy. It's really big. Was not expecting that, but I was super excited. I'm like, I really hope they have a Spider-Man cup, and they did. So I was like, cha-ching. Why would I say cha-ching? I lost money, not gained it. I like that I get to keep adding these to my collection. They're really fun. I mean, total waste of money, but people also buy pop vinyls and stuff like that. So for me, I buy movie-related cups. Plus, I actually use them. So there's that. So Coca-Cola. But I think this is the bulkiest one. This isn't the biggest cup I've ever gotten. This is just the bulkiest. I still never ended up finishing my Endgame cup series because they sold out super fast and did not have any replacements, so I never collected the other characters. I only got Thanos. So glad I picked him first, although after seeing Endgame, I really wanted to get Iron Man. Still hoping someone puts them online and I can buy them. Either way. So I've actually been really eager to sit down and talk about Spider-Man Far From Home. And I think it's kind of okay that I've waited a week because my review was spoiler filled right off the bat. So I guess at least now a lot more people have had a chance to see it. So I don't think people will be that bothered by the fact that I have spoilers. Not to mention, I do announce in the title that there are spoilers, so it's not that much of a shock. It's also not really much of a shock for me. I tend to always go with spoilers because I just like to talk. But anyway, enough of that. Apologies for pink filter starting up again. I guess it's reacting to my jacket. Does that mean it's making... Sorry, in the monitor it is making my hair look pink. So much for dyeing it blonde, now it's pink. God damn. Spider-Man Far From Home is a 2019 American superhero film based on the Marvel Comics character Spider-Man. Directed by John Watts and written by Chris McKenna and Eric Summers, it is the sequel to Spider-Man Homecoming and the 23rd film in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. In it, Spider-Man is recruited by Nick Fury and Mysterio to face elemental threats from another dimension while he is on a school trip to Europe. As far as sequels go, I'd say Spider-Man has nailed it. While I enjoyed his first solo entry into the MCU, I wasn't particularly blown away by it, and though this film begins with a slow burn, it ended on a high and certainly gave me many things to look back on and appreciate being included into the overall product. Spider-Man Far From Home goes beyond just showing us the aftermath of Endgame, but maintains its focus on its central character, Peter Parker. In this film, we see a great deal of emotional growth as Peter adjusts to a world that has been moving forward while he was blipped out of existence for 5 years. Yes, the film introduces us to the term blip, and I utterly loathe it. Peter is trying to juggle being an average teenager and now dealing with the overwhelming burden of being a superhero in a time where people are in desperate need of them, and on top of that, he has to do this as he and the world mourn the loss of his idol Iron Man. As people look to him to fill Iron Man's shoes, Peter finds himself going through an identity crisis. Tom Holland has once again nailed it as Spider-Man, and I think this might be my favorite Spider-Man film to date, not because of Holland's performance, which gets better every time he does it, but because of the many themes and things we see the character go through. Peter is pretty shy and insecure, so in other words, a pretty normal kid, but he spent so much time wanting to be a superhero and wanting to be an Avenger, and now that he is, he's being forced to take on this large mantle on a level he is not ready for. It all just proves too much for him. He questions himself and if he can handle it, and even tries to dodge his calling, but ultimately is scared. Scared he can't live up to his hero or the demand, and scared he will fail. Peter doubts himself so much and is so desperate for an out that he's not at the top of his game until the end of the film. One of the best moments in this film comes when Happy and Peter have a heart-to-heart. Peter shares his fears and sadness, and Happy echoes those feelings while reminding him he will never be Iron Man, and even Iron Man struggled to be Iron Man. All Peter can do is be himself, and that's enough, because who he is who Stark believed in. This is the steel rod in Spider-Man's back that has him come back swinging. He puts faith in himself, he is determined, and proves to himself and his hero that he can do this. Peter again shows off his intelligence in several moments of this film, from his speech on multiverses, kid knows his stuff, to him building his new suit. This scene not only shows Peter coming into his own and taking control, but was a beautiful parallel of Tony Stark and those moments in Iron Man films when we would see him get back to basics and bring himself back up after being knocked down. Another moment is when Spider-Man finds himself in a heated situation and without his web shooters, but he quickly uses his smarts, doesn't hesitate, and proves how capable he is. This moment instantly took me back to the previous film and shows how far Peter has come. It made me think back to
I'm nothing without this suit.
If you're nothing without this suit, then you shouldn't have it.
Peter Parker has proved he is more than the suit, and Tony was right to believe in him. This film also has what I would say is the best depiction of Spider-Man's spidey senses. While this ability has been mentioned and hinted at, none of the films, I haven't seen the Garfield movies, have really shown how useful and essential this power is in Spider-Man's arsenal. I like that the film approaches this ability by saying that while he's doubting himself and in a bad headspace, it messes with his sixth sense and makes him off his game. It's a very psychological approach and almost is like performance anxiety, but when he rebuilds his confidence and believes in himself, then we see him embrace this ability and rely on it to save the day, and it was fantastic. In this single moment, it wasn't speed or strength or agility that saved the day, it was his spidey senses, this thing that is unique to him. This perception skill made him see through Mysterio's illusions, and I think that entire moment perfectly represented the Spider-Man character. I think it's also cute how this film has a running gag of calling it his Peter tingles. It comes off his family making fun of you with jabs, but I love that he gets to a point where he's like, yeah, screw it, come on, Peter tingles. It wasn't him declaring that as the name, as he continuously said that's not what it's called, but it more represented a moment of him relaxing and choosing not to take a silly name so seriously. If only certain fans could be the same way. Spider-Man is a kid, and I like that this film reminds us of that. He's scared and insecure and still yearns for someone to guide him. He's going to make mistakes and question himself, and he'll stumble a lot, but the best thing about him is that he learns and he always tries to make it right and do better next time. He is still learning and always trying, and he doesn't just give up, making him a true superhero and a damn good Avenger. But being that he is a teenager, he has to go through teenage things. In other Spider-Man films, it was always forced or expected to have Peter in a relationship, but these films take a different approach, and it's one I prefer because it makes it all feel more natural. In the previous movie, Peter had a crush and wanted to take his crush to homecoming, simple stuff, and it almost worked until it didn't. Since then, he's met someone different, someone he has grown to like and care about very much, and all Peter wants is to tell her he likes her and hope she likes him back, and as a teenage girl, Michelle, aka MJ, wants the same thing. So it's cute and relatable watching this love story unfold. It's not rushed, it has a natural pace and feels right for their ages, and it is incredibly sweet. sweet. Plus, I enjoy that it isn't being sold as some epic love like the other films. Zendaya brings many more layers to her character in this installment. She brings the smarts, the edge, but also the humor and insecurity and vulnerability, and she can hold her own in the right situation, so I was impressed with the character this time around. When it comes to villains, Jake Gyllenhaal was fantastic as Mysterio, aka Quentin Beck. I knew going in that this character would be the villain but disguised as a hero, so I was interested to see how it would unfold, and I think it unfolded brilliantly. With what I learned about Mysterio in the comics, I believe this film kept to the essence of who the character is and what he can do, but also found a smart way to tie him into this film and the entire MCU and make him feel integrated. Even though he's not going to be a permanent fixture, we do get a lot out of him in the short time we get to have him, which is very impressive. I think tying him to Tony Stark is smart, and I loved how the character was written and performed. For the first half, he takes a very avuncular approach to Peter, and it is so great seeing them together, and you enjoy how they work together on screen. This makes his duplicity and deception all the more gut-wrenching when it is revealed. And then when you realize what a tool he is, it's almost depressing. But how Gyllenhaal delivers these aspects of the character was just excellent and such a great addition to not only the MCU, but MCU villains. However, I had some minor cons concerning how they connected Mysterio to the MCU. While I entirely admit that it works and the writing is perfect and intelligent, that doesn't mean I like it on an emotional level. This film says that Mysterio was the real mastermind behind a piece of Stark tech introduced in Civil War, and that Tony took it, passed it off as his own, and fired Beck, declaring him as unstable. I genuinely hope this is simply the interpretation of events by an unstable person, because face it, Stark was spot on in that assessment. At this point in Stark's life, he was Iron Man, he was making up for past misdeeds, and he was also distraught trying to deal with the events of Ultron. Tony was living with extreme guilt for the lives lost and blaming himself for it and feeling people should be held accountable, and so I find it hard to believe that this man, this hero, at this point in his life was stealing ideas and passing them off as his own. It paints Iron Man in a bad light, and after just losing him, it doesn't sit well with me. I try to look at it as this is how Beck and these other characters perceive things, that they see themselves as geniuses and that they were slighted. I mean, it's clear Beck is smart, but also unstable. Also, at this time, Pepper was CEO of Stark Industries, so if anyone were likely to be firing people, it would be her and not Stark, as he passed control of the company over to her back in Iron Man 2. It's a small thing, but as I am still raw over the death of Iron Man, I can't handle people speaking ill of him, okay? Also, regarding Iron Man and many of the other heroes we lost in Endgame, I didn't enjoy that the first half of the film took such a light-hearted approach to addressing their deaths. The tribute at the start was very cheesy, people were laughing, and I didn't think it's something to be written as funny. There are posters for Iron Man and Tony Stark everywhere, and we have documentaries about his life. I understand the message is meant to be that the world is mourning him, but when matched with the dialogue, it comes off as a running joke and feels like the film went with a lighthearted approach, and it almost feels like some people marketing his death. It felt bizarre and made me a tad uncomfortable, which is why I was so grateful to see Peter and Happy's heart-to-heart later in the film. Marissa Tomei's version of May Parker continues to be my least favorite. While I enjoy that the character is very protective and encouraging when it comes to her relationship with Peter, it continues to be very strange to see her written as so flirty and sexy, as if she's being written as that one kid at school with the super hot mom all the guys want to hook up with. She also doesn't seem to take Peter being Spider-Man very seriously. She makes a lot of jokes, she uses him as a campaign promotional tool, and then she's nearly exposing his secret identity to Italian customs. Makes me question her abilities as a guardian just a bit, but let's face it, she is still doing yards better than the chaperones on the school trip in this film. Two teachers who are terrible at taking care of children and have no idea what they're doing. One believing in witch conspiracies and the other just being an idiot. I'm wondering what kind of science class plans a trip to Italy and France to see and do things that have nothing to do with science. If this were a history or art class, it would make a lot more sense to visit these locations, but for a science class, this is just weird, but sure makes me wish my school had been like that. I also feel I must discuss our two fantastic credit scenes. First really puts Spider-Man in an oh shit position and has me very interested to see what is coming in the MCU and especially the Spider-Man movies, as Mysterio certainly gave Peter the ultimate FU before his demise, which is so diabolical, it's actually impressive. That's how you go out with a bang, folks. Concerning the second clip, I spent the entire film feeling very off about Fury and Hill. I kept asking myself, why were their performances so different? Why were they not as on point with their characters? Because it was bugging me the entire time. My mind rationalized it as they had been snapped, and coming back 5 years later trying to play catch up must take a toll on people. But it turns out I was more perceptive than I realized. It is revealed in the post-credit scene that Fury and Hill are actually the Skrulls Talos and his wife Soren, who have been posing as Fury and Hill under Fury's instruction while he is having a pretend holiday on a Skrull spaceship in space. What that is leading to, I have no idea, but it sure made my jaw drop and also made several moments in the film fall into place, aside from understanding why the characters were a bit off. During Peter's first debriefing, he asks why Fury didn't turn to others first. As soon as Peter says Captain Marvel, Fury takes offense and snaps back with "do not invoke her name." This now makes perfect sense. To the Skrulls, Captain Marvel is their savior, they are alive and have homes thanks to her, so for them, hearing someone casually drop her name like that rubs them the wrong way, which was such a brilliant thing to include once you figure it out. But here's the second one, which both is and isn't a clue. At the start of the film, Hill calls Fury Nick, which could be seen as a hint to the fact that, as Fury stated in Captain Marvel, "No one calls me Nick," and was how he revealed someone to be a Skrull. But Hill did address Fury as Nick in the post-credit scene of Infinity War just before they were both snapped, so this moment could go either way. Either way, I love how many clues started coming to me after the truth was revealed. It was such an unexpected and brilliant moment, and I can't wait to see where it's going. While this film isn't perfect, I think it was a soft landing after the events of Endgame and helps get people back up and ready for the next chapter in the MCU. I did find it to be an upgrade from the previous one, and I do like where the Spider-Man films are going. This film had a tough act to follow, and I think they came through on some fantastic special effects that just knocked it out of the park. It really gave us a film that allowed Spider-Man to showcase what he is capable of, and that he can do things on his own and stand as a solo superhero and not just someone who only works in a group setting. I like being able to see him grow and see the character stand on his own 2 feet. The only annoying thing is so many scenes in the trailers never occurred in the film, and it is getting to a point where we are being sold a film that is different to the one we get. I didn't feel the jokes or levity landed in this film, but the tone was right for the type of film it was. Overall, outstanding performances across the board, an exceptional score that had me a bit teary-eyed. This was a great addition to the franchise and a great continuation of the Spider-Man story. Woo! And I am done, and I'm still fucking pink, which pisses me off. Obviously, by the time you're watching this, I have edited it, and hopefully I've done a good job, because I screwed up so many times trying to do this review, which goes to show I am really out of practice. I was stumbling over my words the entire time. Good God. Anyway, I don't have much else to say. I'm slowly going to start trying to do more stuff. I am at the moment binge watching Brooklyn Nine-Nine. I've already seen it, but except for season 5, but I just needed something really easy to like ease me back into things. So I've got this. I have a Detective Pikachu review coming, which I actually did my written review for that last month, and I just hadn't gotten around to recording it, so I'm going to do that next. And yeah, working on things. Also, IO Movie Oracle Championship game is coming, so check out for that. So on that note, I'm going to head off, and if you like this video, please hit the thumbs up. I would appreciate that. If you are liking some of my videos and you have not subscribed yet, please subscribe. It costs you nothing, but it means everything to me. I swear to God, I've heard someone say that. Ooh, awkward. But also, if you do choose to subscribe, please hit that bell. It is really, really, really important so that you see my future videos. Otherwise, you're not going to see them. That's really unfortunate. Damn you, YouTube. Also, comment down below, share your thoughts on the film. I would love to hear what you guys think about the new Spider-Man movie. And I will head off, but not before thanking my patrons. So until next time, bye.